Welcome to the rant. I'm John Shannon. Well, I want to thank YouTube member Witskeyman, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, for submitting a question in the comments. Remember, I was asking for some input as far as subject matter. So, he asks, why do I think gas prices are so high? And wants me to look into the strategic oil reserve that this country has, and wonders if we should continue to add to it. Now, I've done as much research on this as time can allow. Unfortunately, I still have to, I'm down to a 40-hour work week, so I have a little bit more time on my hands, but not still as much as I'd love to do. I'd love to be able to do this full time if I can make any money at it, but that's a pipe dream, so we'll just keep doing it the way we're doing it. Anyways, the strategic oil reserve is, as I understand it, we are just about at capacity as far as the amount of oil that we can put in the strategic reserve. According to what I've caught, and I look at Wikipedia quite a bit for stuff like this. Is probably not the most reliable resource, but hey, for what it is, it's pretty consistent from what I've seen. The capacity, excuse me, that the reserve can hold is 727 billion barrels. Right now we are just a little over 700, about 701 billion barrels in the strategic oil reserve. Do I think that it's a good idea to have this? I do. The problem is anybody that's lived through the 70s, and I wasn't that old in the 70s, but I was a teenager, and of course, when you're a teenager, your big love is driving. Well, of course, that was kind of curtailed quite a bit by the energy crisis back then in the 70s, when there were gas lines and rationing, and I remember that they went to odd and even days, and as far as your license plate, of course, back then there was no such thing as vanity plates. So if your number was an odd number and it was the odd day in the month, it was your turn to get gas, and vice versa. So I remember those days fairly vividly, and the strategic oil reserve was thought of to avoid problems like the oil embargo in the late 70s caused. And in the very volatile world we're living in right now, I don't think that the reserve should be released to lessen fuel prices. However, I think it's a good thing to have in case of another problem, such as recently. It was the most recent time it was dipped into, as I'm reading, was back when Hurricane Katrina, and some of the flow there from those rigs out in the Gulf was cut off for a little while, so they dipped into the reserve a little bit for that. Is stockpiling in the reserve, is it adding to the cost of oil? Again, the cost that we pay at the pumps? Probably. I doubt that it's costing so much. I doubt that it would make a difference, a real difference, one way or another, at the price of the pumps. I'm talking maybe a dime a gallon for gas, to be brutally honest. Um, this is going to, of course, differ greatly from what's and people, my friends have told me I've been leaning a lot to the left lately, and maybe they're right. But this is one thing I do agree with my conservative friends. In the long run, in the long term, yes, it would be very good to be able to wash our hands, so to say, of petroleum products altogether, petroleum-based energy, and go to cleaner burning fuels, renewable fuels, and the like. Um, Unfortunately, the technology to do that is still very expensive, and still probably maybe 15, 20 years down the road from being mainstream, at least in my opinion. Um, the In the short term, however, I really think that we need to explore possibly doing a couple of things. One, we have areas that the environmental wackos won't, are pitching a fit about us drilling in, up in Alaska, Anwar. Um, we we have to be able to access more of our own resource. And second of all, when is the last time that a refinery was built in this country? As I understand it, it's been 20 years since there was a refinery built. We need to get back to building refineries here in this country to be able to stop the bottleneck of the oil that is flowing through here but is not getting refined. Those two things would cause in my opinion, a huge drop in the price of oil, um, and would eventually ease some of the problems. Now, I know you can't just build a refinery overnight, so so that I understand that, and even for that matter, to start drilling, excuse me, to start drilling, that process, is a 4 or 5 year process down the road, even to get started on that. But it needs to happen. The other thing, though, is, quite frankly, is that you cannot lose sight of the fact that there are some people in the oil industry that are making, millions, individuals that are making millions and millions of dollars for this product off the back of everyday working people. And when you ask me whether or not, why I think gas prices are so high, you have to understand that I just, like I said, I just gave up working or driving cab as a full-time job. I'm still in the industry, but I'm, I've watched, when I first started driving cab back 27 years ago, I could fill my tank on an average day for less than $10 a day. Nowadays, for the same amount of work and almost the same amount of money, that same tank of gas is costing me anywhere from $38 to $45. So I want you people who think that gas prices are fine right where they are. I want you to take a hit of $35 to $40 per day in which you work, and see how tough it is for you. The gas fuel prices is one of the main reasons I have decided to give up driving, at least for now. I may have to get back into it, but at this stage in time, my first preference is not. Folks, that's all I got time for. Once again, I want to thank Whiskey Man for posing his question. And until the next time, this is John Shannon, the Redneck Cabbie. Adios.